dingy edge of Doylestown, Pennsylvania, an old factory has been converted into a biotech incubator. This is a place where new, life-changing drugs are developed, and that is the aim of this man.
I'm Doug Brenneman. I'm a neuropharmacologist that has had a background as an NIH scientist for 22 years. In addition, after I left NIH, I joined Johnson & Johnson, where I was a team leader focused on central nervous system therapeutics. Another reason
Doug has spent the last 5 years researching cannabis, a substance about which he is completely conflicted. One part he likes, one part he loathes.
I also developed a strong interest in CBD and also a very strong aversion to THC, which I believe has no redeeming qualities.
Interesting dichotomy.
It's an extraordinary dichotomy. I'm just telling you, that's where I'm at.
You heard that right. Dr. Brenneman is no fan of marijuana, but when he learned about the potential of CBD, he changed his mind.
So when it comes to cannabidiol, would you describe yourself as a convert?
Yes, unequivocally.
Learning part of the brain.
The power behind Brenneman's conversion? In his research for the biotech firm Kannalife, he discovered CBD can be a game changer as a treatment for pain. The kind of pain Eugene Monroe feels every day. The kind of pain for which opioids have been the prescribed answer. The same opioids that claim the lives of 60,000 Americans every year.
Number one use of cannabis and CBD, and that is getting rid of intractable pain.
Might what you're doing research on right now be an answer to the opioid epidemic?
If I didn't believe the answer to that question was yes, we would not be doing it.
What might this mean in that context?
Well, CBD actually can form an alternative, actually in terms of getting people off of opiates without the abuse potential.
Imagine a kind of pain reliever that doesn't just provide comfort, but could save lives.
That's huge.
It's enormous. Exactly. So there's lots of reasons, and you've just hit on a big one. Do we know that that's in fact the case now? No. Is it experimentally addressable? Yes.
It's the science behind pharmaceuticals.
Dean Petkanas is the CEO of Kannalife, where Doug Brenneman is working on cannabidiol. What's the number on the patent?
It's 6630507, and the title is Cannabinoids as Antioxidants and Neuroprotectants.
That's a U.S. patent.
It is.
Be prepared to be confounded in one of those classic governmental right hand not knowing what the left hand is doing sort of fiascos. On the one hand, the DEA says pot has no medicinal use, and on the other, the National Institutes of Health believes cannabis could be big medicine. In fact, the NIH has a patent on pot. I mean, the government has a patent that says there's something in marijuana that has medicinal value?
Yes, the government has a patent that was developed by inventors in an intramural research project through NIH, through National Institutes of Health, so it's taxpayer funded.
Petkanas has licensed the patent, which means he can use certain cannabis-based compounds and develop them into medicines. Medicines that could turn into the payday of a lifetime for him and the government.
Reading the government's patent. A lot of research went into it. And when you look into that, you realize that some very prominent scientists turn their attention to these structures, how they would be useful as medicine in the treatment of these diseases, Alzheimer's, epilepsy, Down syndrome.
On top of that, Petkanas claims CBD can be an effective treatment for concussions, traumatic brain injury, and CTE, the disease that plagues a number of former football players.
In the area of traumatic brain injury, or concussive injury, or CTE, the potential is to reverse toxicity, protect the brain.
Protect the brain?
Right, protect the brain, before, during, and after.
How big a breakthrough is this potentially?
This is all new country, Harry. This is stuff that, because of the restrictions of the Controlled Substance Act, nobody touched cannabinoids at all. They just left it there and left it alone.
Back in the Kannalife lab in Pennsylvania, Dr. Brenneman is hard at work trying to determine for certain if weed is really a wonder drug.
Give me a hint signal. Potential for cannabidiol is where?
Way up there.
Right.
And I say that from just the breadth of therapeutic areas which it's relevant to. The anecdotal evidence here is something that really gets your attention. Why don't we have the clinical goods here to make the case? Mm-hmm. And it all comes down to the scheduling of this compound as a Schedule I compound.
But is all that about to change?